Hello, everybody. Hoping you can hear me. I'm just putting my phone onto silent because I just realised that I hadn't put it on it, and I didn't want you guys to suddenly hear a whole bunch of like Facebook notifications and messages and all that kind of cool stuff. So, exciting times. I kind of briefly talked about it last night, but I decided to change the group a little bit. Not lots and lots, but I want to give maximum value. And we've talked about this before. I've certainly talked about this before. I've created lots of resources and challenges and things like that to help you guys move forward in the group. And today, I guess I'm doing some of my own market research, which is exciting. I'm practicing what I preach. And I want to find out from you, who are the favorite people you follow and why? Now, I'm asking this for two reasons. One, because I love doing my own market research. I love knowing great people to network with. I love knowing great people that my clients identify with. I like knowing things in different areas. You know, if someone came to me and said, oh my god, I love Kat Laterzo because she's just really passionate and she's relentless and she's strong, great. If somebody came to me and said, oh my goodness, I love Becky Dixon because she, you know, is absolutely amazing with mindset and talking about mindset mastery, that's great. What I'm looking for is for people to say to me, you know what, Jess, you know who I think is amazing in this market? I think it is XYZ. You know, so who do you follow and why? The second part to that is, what do you think? And I'm about to be doing a workshop, so I'll be completely honest. I'm about to be doing a workshop on writing sales copy. And it's an interesting one because I want some really good examples. I want examples from people who you guys really like. You know, whose stuff do you read regularly? Who do you follow? Whose email lists are you signed up to? And why does their copy compel you? You know, what is it that makes you think, that person is totally tuned in to me and what I'm thinking or feeling in my business at this time? Okay, so that's what I'm kind of looking for this morning. I'm looking for you to tell me who inspires you, you know, and when I'm talking about inspiration, I'm talking about it in the business sense, because my mum inspires me and she's just amazing, but I probably wouldn't share the stuff that she says with you guys because it probably, you know, will just be a bit kind of old school, that you don't need to know. But who inspires you? You know, which coaches out there? Do you follow anybody for mindset? Do you follow anybody for money mastery? Hey, Lorraine. Hey. Oh, and Tara's here because you just did a little heart thing. That was my impression of a heart, by the way. It was terrible, so sorry about that. But yeah, that's what I'm looking for this morning. I'm looking for people to tell me who inspires you. Is it Mel Farr? Is it Emily Williams? Is it somebody who's outside of the coaching realm? You know, people like Russell Brunson, people like Jonathan Chan. Who is it that you read regularly, that you keep an eye on because their copy compels you, because it's interesting, because it's fun, because it speaks directly to you? That's what I'm looking for this morning. I'm just going to have a sip, and it's Diet Coke, but it's okay, Lorraine, because I am drinking it because I had a blood test this morning and they said to keep my sugar up, so there you go. It's not just that I'm really unhealthy and drinking Diet Coke all the time. Who inspires you? Exactly. Who inspires me? People I watch, Tara Newman, who was on here just a second ago. I read all of her newsletters, even though she's my biz bestie, because I find them really interesting and I like her copy. Diet Coke is never okay, yeah, I know. But in all fairness, they did actually recommend it to me, so I'm going to not take the blame for that one. So Tara Newman inspires me. I would say that people like Kat Laterzo inspires me. You know, she inspires me and terrifies me in equal measure because I'm like, oh my goodness, she's amazing and she's passionate and she's fiery. And at the same time, I'm like, oh my goodness, I could never ever be like that because I'm British and pretty reserved. So that's what I'm looking for. I'm looking for you to kind of say to me, these are the people that inspire me. So that when I'm leading this workshop on sales copy, I can be teaching you guys basically how people craft sales copy that actually compels their audience and actually, you know, makes them feel as though they're talking directly to them. So if you are inspired by anybody, other than, you know, Diet Coke or your mum, then please let me know. Denise Duffield-Thomas. Yeah, exactly. Denise Duffield-Thomas is friggin' awesome. I love her. She is just amazing. I also love the fact that she has that really cool background, which is just incredible. I think I'm going to get some like brick wallpaper just so I can pretend to be slightly as cool. But yeah, so if there's anybody else, you know, Denise Duffield-Thomas is a great one. I know that lots of people like the big thought leaders, you know, Oprah. Everybody loves a bit of Oprah, right? You know, but who are you reading at the moment? Who are you following on social media? Whose programs are you checking out on a regular basis and thinking, oh my goodness, I have to have the next one of those? Because I want to teach this workshop and I want people to understand why that copy is talking to them, how you can show your authentic voice in your sales copy without having to sound exactly like that person. Okay, so if you've got anybody else, amazing, I'd love to hear them. If not, I'm going to be back later on because I'm going to be talking today about financial empowerment and money. Woohoo! And it's going to be kind of cool actually, because today I am going to be sharing some of my finances and my figures and what it looks like and what expenditures look like and profit and things like that. So it's going to be interesting. I mean, if you're interested in what I earn and interested in what I donate to charity and things like that, then absolutely. So I've got my little tracking sheet. I'll show you guys. I write everything down because I'm a total pen and paper nerd. So you can see here I've got my little monthly tracker going on. And that's the kind of thing that I'm going to be sharing with you guys later on. So right now we're all about inspiration and who you are inspired by, whose copy lights you up. Hey Jess, Stella Orange is great. She's a copywriter. Oh, now I've never heard of her, so that's awesome. See, I love this because it's like new names. That's what I like. I like new people to follow. Okay, cool. And Danielle Laporte. Yes, Danielle Laporte, amazing. I love her. You know, I'd safely have got a pretty big girl crush on her. I just love her work. I'm like, oh my god, I just want to be you. The Elledge Brown. Yeah, exactly, because she's sweet, she's adorable, you like to have her as a BFF. Exactly, you know, I think it's really interesting what kind of camps we fall into. I know that for me, I'm one of those people that I get really, not turned off, but I can get like, oh, you know, I get a bit scared by the people who are swearing all the time and stuff. That's because I'm British, you know, it's not because I've got anything against swearing. Doesn't really bother me one way or the other, but I just prefer it to be used for emphasis rather than all the time. So I love, you know, the sweet and adorable kind of thing, and the people that are really relatable, and the people that, you know, seem like the people you'd like to go out for cocktails and wines with. Wines, as in plural glasses of, not bottles. I follow Tepsi. Do you know, actually, Tepsi, I started looking at properly this week. I'd looked at her copy before briefly, but this week I was looking at her copywriting course. She's got something called Right to Profit or something like that, and I was like, that sounds really cool. You know, I love the way she writes. I like her style. Hey, Anushka. It's so nice to see you. I think this is the first time you've caught me live, so hey, thank you for joining me. Same here with the swearing, but you're German. I love Germany. Munich is one of my favourite places, and if you are in Germany, then you should definitely hook up with Tanya Dantis, because she's also in Germany, so there you go. We're a multinational group. Tanessa, I get doesn't bother me if it's authentic rather than use the shock value. Yeah, that's something I get, you know, if I walk along, you know, and I do this quite frequently because I'm really accident prone, so I will be the sort of person that will walk along the street, there'll be nothing on the floor, and I will trip over my own foot or thin air or, you know, just anything that I can see, and I face plant the pavement. You'd have thought by now I'd have got used to putting my hands out, but for some reason I don't. I just kind of fall like a moron, and every single time I'm like, oh bugger, or occasionally something stronger, but you know, but I don't, you know, my copy, it wouldn't be something I would use all the time because I think that it's quite diluted now, and personally it's not the way I came across. You know, if I was swearing every 5 minutes in my copy and then someone got on the phone with me and I was like, oh bugger, or oh dear, flip. It wouldn't look authentic, it wouldn't look like me. Tepsi is like you, she totally gives free value all the time. Yeah, exactly. Free value is really important. You know, who inspires you because they give you a shed load of free value, and every time you have a touch with them or a touch point with them, they are giving you value. You know, for that, I really like Bushra. I don't know whether anybody here is in her group, the 60-second persuasion, but she puts out a ton of value. You know, she's always very good at writing blogs, or she's very good at putting out kind of videos that explain things, or flowcharts and things like that always give a ton of free value. You know, how many of you actually follow people because of the free value that they give you? How many of you kind of follow that free value and, you know, do anything with it, take action on that value and see results? Anushka, it's the first time I caught you. Yay! Well, I'm really glad you have. I'm really glad, because you're only like an hour ahead of me, so it's really nice to kind of get to see people on these. I'm going to be playing around with the times, so I can make sure that I kind of do enough time zones to get hold of everybody, so that we can start delivering massive value in this group, because I've been away for a couple of weeks working on some back-end exciting stuff, which will, you know, filter down to you guys really soon. But at the same time, I want to make sure that we're kind of in here and we're engaged and we're bringing up some cool stuff. What was I talking about? Oh yeah, people who give massive value. You know, who are you inspired by that gives a shed ton of value? For me, it's Bushra. I love her. Olivia Charlet. She's at exactly. And it's so interesting how when you up level your own training, learning and development and investment, how you change and your business personality changes. And I think that's the really interesting thing. For me, I will stay pretty much the same in the way that my language is, or the way that I talk and the way that I come across. But I know that when I make significant investments in my business, I'm much more likely to be actually out there making sure I get that return on that investment. And if that means that I need to be more visible, or if it means that I need to be delegating more to other kind of people who work within my business, or even like now, if it means that I need to be sat down kind of quietly, a little bit retrospective, introspective, and thinking about the value that I can add, and producing content and, you know, doing things that are actually going to benefit people in the future of my business, then I'm going to do that. You know, it will all change as you change, as you grow and evolve. Your business will grow and evolve, your copy will grow and evolve. And I think that's the cool thing about the workshop that I'm going to be doing on sales copy is, you know, where is your authentic voice? Who are you speaking to? And is your message really coming across to them? You know, because what I'm trying to, I guess, find out is, okay, why do you read these people's copy? Is it because they add loads of value? Is it because you feel like they're speaking your language? Is it because they identify your pain points? Is it because they show you what's possible? You know, do you prefer talking or listening or reading people's work that talk about their money transparently? Are you somebody who's turned off by the I made 6 figures in 10 days kind of thing? You know, where do you sit on the spectrum? Because that affects how I run this group too. You know, I don't want to be putting out a bunch of really transparent financial posts if nobody cares about them, because I would rather put out stuff that's going to add value to you guys and actually help you move forward in your business. I might start charging Diet Coke product placement. And here is my Diet Coke. Really unhealthy and bad for you, but recommended by doctors. But yeah, so if if you're thinking today, okay, well, I've just read this post and it was awesome, or you're thinking, oh my goodness, I get this email from such and such person, please let me know about it, because I'm really looking to, I guess, be inspired myself by other people and their copy, and really help you guys out on the authentic voice stuff. Anushka, I've yet to find my sales copy voice. I find it really hard, to be honest. That's really interesting. There'd be a couple of questions I have around that, Anushka, and I really hope I'm saying your name right as well. If I'm not, write it in the comments phonetically so I can try and pronounce it better. So what I would say about finding your authentic sales copy voice is, A, who are you talking to? So do you know who your ideal client is? B, do you know what you're selling them? And C, are you confident in what you're selling them? Okay, those are the three major questions that I always ask myself when I'm writing sales copy. Who am I speaking to? I.e. my ideal client, so what am I thinking about those pain points? Oh, I'm really glad that I'm saying it right. What am I thinking about their pain points? How am I thinking about their solutions? What am I thinking about my program or service that I want to be selling to them, and how it will benefit them and why it will help them long term? And then I think about, am I confident in what I'm selling? Am I offering something that genuinely is exciting for me? Is something that I believe will make a big impact? Is something that I believe will make a big difference? And if it is, if I'm really passionate about that, and I'm really passionate about, okay, well, let's take it forward. I know that I can see people doing really, really well with this. I know that I'm going to go out and I'm going to tell everybody about it. But if one of those three things is off for me, so if, for example, I don't know my ideal client as well as I'd like to around that particular program or service, or if I haven't formed out the syllabus properly for the program or service that I'm selling them, or if I'm not really confident on how it's going to be received, or whether it's something that's actually needed from my ideal client base, it makes my sales copy a lot more difficult to write. Does that make sense? I hope so. Lorraine, I get turned off a lot by I made 20k in a week post, because that's not the same as making 20k every week. I sometimes make a lot of money in a week, but that's just because 3 or 4 clients all pay me at the same time, and then that money has to last 10 weeks or 3 months. Yeah, exactly. For me, and that's why I want to do some kind of stuff in this group, which is totally transparent around my finances, my financial figures, and what that actually look like. Because for me, I deal with banked monthly revenue, and I'll go into this later properly, but for me, banked monthly revenue is anything that has been paid by a client, so it's already in the bank, and that will be my like gross amount. So that will be everything, including taxes. Then I'll take off taxes, expenses, and all that kind of stuff to find my actual profit. So that's why, for me, that marketing also turns me off a little bit, because I'm a bit like, well, out of that 20 grand, how much did it cost you to make 20 grand? Because if it cost you 19 grand to make 20 grand, you made $1,000 worth of profit. I probably wouldn't do that. That's not my business model. My business model is very much expenses. Obviously you do need to spend, and I hate to say it, but the phrase is, you need to spend money to make money. That is kind of true. If you invest in your business, you will get a return on that investment, whether that's through something like Facebook ads, whether that's through learning how to write your own copy, whether that's through sales calls, anything like that. Anushka makes absolute sense. Great questions to check off and build around it. You're so welcome. Seriously, if you have any questions, you need any more help, just give me a shout, pop me a message, tag me in a post in the group. Feel free to share some of your copy if you want thoughts on it, and tag me in it, and I'll give you my kind of thoughts. More than welcome. But yeah, so some of that marketing kind of doesn't really resonate with me. The reason being that I'm like, well, how much of that is profit? How much of it is expenses? How much of it is taxes? How much is actually going into your bank account? What does that really look like? So I want to be really transparent about my figures and what I'm actually doing with the money and things like that, because obviously I give 50% of my revenue each month to charity, which can be quite challenging if people aren't earning as much each month. But I think that for me, charity and volunteering is a big thing. So I think, it is really important for me to be really open and transparent with you guys about what it actually costs to run a 6-figure business. Because, and I know that there are people in this group who have amazing businesses who, some people are earning 6 figures, some people are earning 5 figures, some people are earning 7 figures, and everybody's on the journey up. But I think it's really important to be transparent about what it costs to make that money and what it costs to actually reinvest back in your business to take it to the next level. So that's what I'm going to be kind of talking about later. But in terms of being inspired, the people that really inspire me are the ones that don't give me all the crap around, oh yeah, you know, one day I was, you know, earning nothing, and the next day I'd had like a full client list and things like that within the space of 24 hours. Because for me, you know, business building takes time. And I think that's the thing that we don't see in this industry very often, is that actually people, they don't necessarily share their journey, their financial journey, or the journey that it's actually taken them to get to that six-figure place. I know that I'm much more inspired by people who turn around and went, God, you know what, the first 3 months of my business were a nightmare, a bit like my own, and I really struggled to kind of get anywhere with it, and then suddenly I clicked and I got a strategy in place, and that's when it started to skyrocket and spiral for me. So I'm much more inspired by people who are honest, and people who will say, you know, setting up your business is hard work, keeping it and maintaining it is hard work. I'm not as inspired by the whole overnight success stories, mainly because I guess I'm a bit cynical, and I've had my own business for 2 years, and I worked in business before that, and you know, I've never seen a business that has just kind of within a 24-hour or week or 3-week period just kind of skyrocketed when nobody has invested anything, or when people, you know, haven't really kind of put in the work. So that's me. Exactly, Anushka. Yeah, exactly. Earning is only a small fraction. So when somebody says they have a 7-figure business, you want to ask them how much profit. Exactly. And that is totally normal, and that's the right way to be. You know, I see a lot of people recently who've said, you know, and there's been a lot going on in our industry recently that has been kind of shady and a little bit grey and murky, and I'm not okay with that. You know, in this group we all know that I'm very transparent, and that if people want to ask me questions, I'm more than happy to answer questions about my business and things like that, because it's important that you guys can actually see what growth, expansion, good months, shit months, all that kind of stuff look like. There's me swearing. See, there we go. Highlighted for effect, or actually just because I, you know, that's a word that I picked up in the corporate sales world and use fairly frequently in my own life. So, you know, I think when you're looking at coaches, when you're looking at interviewing coaches, when you're looking at taking on programs, when you're seeing these posts that say I made X amount in this amount of time, and you're thinking, okay, am I inspired or am I not? It comes down to two things. What do the facts actually look like? You know, what is the profit behind that? Because like I was saying earlier, if it costs them 19 grand to make 20 grand, is that somebody that you really want to be leading you on your sales strategy? Probably not. You know, it's great they made 20 grand, but it's no good if they've already spent all their profit. However, if you're talking to somebody and they say, okay, well, you know, my monthly costs, and I'll be going through my monthly costs later in a bit more depth, but for example, I pay for the internet, I pay my VA, I pay website hosting, and I pay for email autoresponder. Well, now I've combined that all into one because I'm using a really cool system. But, so by the time I paid out everything, we're talking maybe $200, $300 a month, which in pounds equates to about between 175 and 200 pounds a month. Now, I'm running a consistent business, a consistent, sustainable, successful business, and so I know that those costs go up and down, they fluctuate depending on what I'm doing at that time. So if I invest in coaching, for example, which I do all the time, because I firmly believe that if I'm not investing in a coach, how can I expect anybody else to invest in me? You know, if I'm investing in my learning development, those costs will go up. Equally, so will my return on that investment. So, you know, I think for me, those inspirational posts, the things that I read, the people that I follow, are the ones that are honest about how much it actually costs them to do that. Lorraine, silly question. No question is ever silly, so never say that. You always quote everything in dollars. Do you have a dollar currency bank account? Is it more beneficial to do that in the UK? No, I don't have a dollar currency bank account. The interesting thing with me is that because the primary amount of my clients are either in the US, Canada, Australia or New Zealand, and all of those countries work in the dollar, albeit different dollars. You know, the Australian dollar and the Canadian dollar are very, very different to the US dollar, but it makes a lot more sense for me then to use US. What happens with my business is that everything goes to PayPal. So if anybody's ever had an invoice from me, you'll know that it either comes to you directly through PayPal, or if it's something that's automated, it comes to you through Wave. And then it goes to them in dollars, they convert it, and they charge me a fee that I would have paid anyway. I think it's like 2.1%, 2.25%, something like that, because obviously I have a business account. Depending on how much money you have going through that business account depends on the fee that you pay. So I think, and don't quote me on this, but I think the sliding scale for PayPal is if you're doing, say, $0 to $500 a month in PayPal, you pay 3%. If you're doing $500 to $1,500, you pay 2.9%. If you go over that, then you, and it's like a sliding scale, it goes down and down and down. Does that make sense? A dollar currency bank account though would be cool. I would just feel like this is awesome, and I'd also feel much like I would feel like I had much more money, because when I look at what I've earned, and I was looking at this morning, so if you look at here we go, I was doing the transaction currency conversions. So if somebody pays me, for example, $800, depending on what the exchange rate is like, I am after fees, I get £519.45. So, you know, if you look at things in dollars, it's really easy to go, oh my goodness, I had a 10k month immediately in dollars. And actually, when you're in the UK, that equates to about £6,066 or £666. It's a bit of an odd number. You pay 3%. You only have your books through PayPal. The rest pay direct through online banking. Exactly, and paying directly through online banking is amazing. There are also things that you can use if you don't use PayPal, but you want accounting software. And I'm a really big fan of accounting software, mainly because I hate screwing around with taxes at the end of the year, and it all freaks me out. I use things like QuickBooks or Wave, where I can actually see what money's coming in and what money is going out on a daily basis. So it'll give you like a daily, weekly and monthly snapshot. And you can also send invoices directly through that, which can protect you as well, because obviously PayPal have some interesting rules around how chargebacks and disputes are handled. So if you have a digital product or service that you run through PayPal, anybody who pays on a credit card can claim that chargeback for up to like 180 days or something. I heard of one recently, somebody charged back on their credit card after 200 days. So, you know, having something in place like FreshBooks, FreshBooks, QuickBooks, or anything run by Intuit, Wave, that kind of stuff, really, really handy. Being an Australian dollar millionaire isn't quite as cool as being a UK British pound millionaire. There's nothing else I can say to that one. Unfortunately, the Australian dollar is pretty low at the moment, but like Anushka was saying, the only good thing is euros. It's pretty much 1.1 to USD. Yeah, exactly. And so it is going to depend where you are in the world, you know, but I guess for me, I find it much more inspirational for people to go, hey, you know what, I had a great launch. And some people do this. I watch people who go, oh my goodness, I just had a 6-figure launch and that's great. Me and Susan Kate are going through a 6-figure launch at the moment, which is really exciting. But afterwards, we'll be publishing our figures and kind of how we got there, and then what the monthly revenue looks like after that. Because obviously, somebody could have a 6-figure launch and it'd be like, oh my goodness, it's amazing, you know, I've cleared 100k or whatever. But they've done that in contracted revenue, not banked. And what that means is that actually they have contracts going forward which will take them to that 6-figure launch over the course of 10 months, 12 months, whatever that period might be. But in banked revenue, they might have only made, and I say only, they might have made 30, 40, 50,000, but they've got this kind of 6-figure launch tag. Okay, so for me, the inspiration comes from being totally transparent about those numbers, about those figures, and saying, well, actually, you know, I made, you know, I had a 6-figure launch, assuming that everybody pays their contracts and assuming that everybody pays their contracts directly and on time, and that they keep doing that, then Lorraine, can I count my 2 decimal points in the 6 figures? Do you know what? That made me giggle, sorry. Amazing. That literally made my day. Yes, you can. You can. To count it as your 6 figures, please go and spray it all over the internet. And then when people ask you how you've got that number, please tell them that I said you could do it. Because that will make me look amazing. Not. But, you know, I think it's all about transparency. For me, it's all about being very transparent, and the things that I find inspirational, you know, I love people like Emily Williams, because she turns around and she says, you know what, my business, I got 54 no's in like 2 weeks. And do you know what, I don't look at her and go, 54 no's, wow, she must have been rubbish at sales. I look at her and go, wow, there is somebody that was so determined to make their business work. They kept going and they kept going and they kept going. And I know that I was somebody who her story really, really inspired, because I was like, well, if she can do it and she got 54 no's, heck, I'm trained in sales. I should be able to take this and run with it, you know, really, really make it work. So for me, it is all about transparency. It is all about being real. It's about celebrating real stuff. You know, I had a post recently that got a load more engagement than I was ever expecting, where I said, you know, I'm tired of not celebrating my wins, and I want to celebrate the stuff that I'm good at and the stuff that I do for my clients. And actually, that was on recommendation of Lorraine. So yeah, check Lorraine out. She commented on a post of mine where I was sharing a client testimonial who'd done really well. He'd made 36k with his first client, quit his 9 to 5, you know, doing amazingly within a month of working with me, I think. And I put that up, and Lorraine had said, that's absolutely awesome, but why don't you ever share your successes? You know, we see you sharing other people's successes, but we don't ever see you sharing yours. And it was at that point that I thought, wow, that's really powerful, because I suddenly realised that I can't ask, and I celebrate wins in this group all the time. You know, you probably have seen or been part of or been the person I'm celebrating at some point or another in the group, where I celebrate other people's wins, and I say, you know, these people have done really well, and look at what they've done, aren't they amazing? You know, they're working really hard and they deserve those results. But I don't do it for myself. And so I put out this post that was just completely honest, and I was like, oh, I don't share my own wins, I don't share my own successes, and I think I probably should, because, you know, I can't ask other people to do things that I wouldn't do myself. And it was a post that went kind of big really, really quickly, because people were like, oh yeah, I don't share my wins either. Oh yeah, I don't do that. And people were messaging me and saying, wow, that was so transparent, that was so cool. And in reality, it was me taking a life lesson and thinking, yeah, okay, do you know what, I've never been one to brag about my achievements or boast about those things, but in actual fact, talking and celebrating the things that I do for other people is a good thing. It's, you know, as long as it's phrased in the right way and not, hey, I can help, or hey, I make anybody help make 6 figures in like 2 weeks, then I don't see the problem with sharing that kind of celebration at all anymore. Asked me 2 weeks ago, and it might have been very different. But I think, you know, I think for me, and when I was kind of talking to you guys about who inspires you today, I want to know what inspires you. You know, would you rather see the 6-figure dream, or would you rather see people who go, you know what, these are the steps I took, and this is where I failed, and this is where I failed pretty spectacularly, this is where I did really well, and this is how it all evens out. You know, I want to know whether you're interested in the journey, or whether you're interested in the outcome, I guess, or both, because everybody's interested in both. I'm just going to move myself here. Oh dear, it's been a long day. I had a blood test this morning, like 8:10. So I was quite happy about it though, because it was a fasting blood test. So by the time I came out, I was like, I need to eat everything. And in the meantime, it means that I'm just sort of like sat here. I'm not even kidding. I'm in my pajama bottoms. I'm feeling sorry for myself. But I am putting in a lot of work today, so you guys are going to be seeing me all day on Facebook Live. It's going to be awesome, because I'm going to be showing you the back end of my launch. Me and Susan are going to be showing you the back end of our SaaS Business Academy launch, you know, and I just want to know how you'd prefer to hear about it. You know, what would inspire you? Would it inspire you to know that, you know, all of the free stuff that we've used to actually start our sales process and start creating our sales process, and how much we've made. Would it inspire you to, know all the mistakes that I made in my business in the first 3 to 6 months, year? Because I keep making mistakes. It's fine. I like making mistakes. I think it's really useful for my business. Actually, it's one of the biggest reasons that my business keeps growing, because I keep making a load of mistakes and keep getting back up and doing different things and tweaking and changing. Nobody is perfect. So tell me what inspires you. Just checked at Emily Williams. Here we go. So Lorraine, you all are getting this creepy close-up of my face, but don't worry, because I've been doing the Dermalogica skin peeling thing. So the skin looks great. Just checked out Emily Williams. Interestingly, she has a 7-figure sales result, but only worked with 60 people one-on-one and 200 through group programs. My figures could be getting close to that in 18 months too, but I'm nowhere near 7 figures even before expenses. I really need to keep working on tweaking my processes. Yeah. Okay, so I'm going to share something with you later about the difference between a 6-figure business and a 7-figure business. And I will tell you, and Tara Newman will tell you this as well. And anybody that is going from 6 figures or multi-6 figures to 7 figures, the biggest difference between a 6-figure earner and a 7-figure earner is like 2 clients. It's not a lot. It's 2 extra clients. So if you can get 2 extra clients a week or a month or whatever, that can take you from being a 6-figure to a 7-figure earner. And there are key traits for 7-figure earners and also for 6-figure earners. So if anybody wants to know what those traits are, let me know, because I will hit it up with a post about it in the group. Because I know that when I came out of corporate, I was earning 6 figures in my corporate job. I was really lucky. I thought I was this kind of amazing young sales manager. I was traveling the world. I was earning 6 figures. I was living in Jimmy Choo's. I was, that kid rushing around with a briefcase and a Starbucks in hand on my BlackBerry, like, oh my goodness, I'm so important. I'm the center of the universe. That was me 2 years ago. But actually, when I came out of corporate and I went into my business, I was like, well, I'm never going to make 100k in a year in my business. And so, for the first months I sucked. And that was because I didn't do basic things. I didn't delegate. I didn't reinvest in my business. I took a complete scarcity mindset about it, the whole thing, and was like, oh God, I can't possibly invest any money in getting a coach because that would be silly, because I'm trying to be a coach and that would be me asking for help, and then I would be spending money that I don't want to spend, because then how will I pay the mortgage and all this kind of stuff. In actual fact, if I'd have hired a coach and actually, understood the things that I was missing out on in my business, which were a lot to do with delegation and hiring team members to make my life easier, then I would have made it a lot quicker. Surprise, surprise. But yeah, if anybody wants to know about the difference between 5-figure earners to 6-figure earners, 6-figure earners to 7-figure earners, let me know and I will put them in the group, because it's really not about working 24/7 despite what you might see. It's really not about being logged into Facebook 24/7 despite what you might see. It's much more about the way that you segregate your time, the money-making activities that you spend your time on, and how you kind of actually go about your day and your information. And Nushka, I shut down with the bragging unless it's backed up, and the full story, like you just said, then it's not bragging in my book. Yeah, totally. For me, if somebody can quantify, if somebody can say to me, yep, I earned 6 figures last year and this is where I did it, like I'm going to do for you guys later, yeah, obviously. That's not bragging. That's kind of like, okay, well, this is the journey, and that absolutely inspires me. When I look at people, and Kat Laterzo did this recently. She did this really cool live stream about, okay, this is my profit, this is my expenses, this is how I made this money this month. And I think she made like $182,000 in April, which is about £160,000. And I'm not sure what that is in euros. My maths is not that good in the currency conversion. But I was really like, okay, well, I like this because she's showing clearly, okay, well, this is how I made my money, this is what I spent it on, this is what I reinvested it in, this is what I, kind of did to get to that $182,000. And it meant that I look at it and go, okay, cool. I can now see how I could go from, a 5-figure month to a 6-figure month pretty simply. But equally, when I was just starting out my business and I saw all these people going, yeah, I've made 6 figures, I was like, Jesus, I'm just trying to make $1,000 a month, or I'm just trying to make $2,000 a month. And there was no point in me kind of dreaming about 6 figures when I wasn't even making 5. And this is the thing, I think we need to look at it. For me, I'm much more inspired by people who are a few steps ahead of me on the journey, Lorraine, I think there's a massive difference between 25k and 99k and 100k to 999k. That's where the 6-figure or 5-figure statements are sometimes hard to understand. Oh, how do I see more? I get that it's just a small amount of extra work multiplied, but I'd still like to get close to 99k before I go into it. Yeah. Absolutely. In terms of you didn't explain that well. No, you did. I meant that to make 100k versus 999k is a totally different format process, surely. Yeah, that's what I was just kind of saying. Don't dream about 6 figures before you've made 5, because there's no point. And the reason that there's no point is not because I want to dull your dreams or because you have a really terrible money mindset or anything like that. It's great to have big goals. But if you're chasing a goal that is too far ahead of you, then it can be really disheartening because you're always like setting yourself up to fail. Whereas if you're setting yourself a goal that's like, okay, well, at the moment I'm making 20 grand a year, and by the end of the year I want to make, that's a steep goal, that's a stretch goal, but it's not out of reach, it's not completely out of reach, because the same things that you're doing to make 20k, believe it or not, are the same things you'll do to make 100k, but you will refine the process. So say that you are now making 25,000 a year. Anushka, please don't shoot me. When I hear that my mindset stuff again, I'm going to die. Yeah, we've all been there, we've all heard that. And I love it because I've often been on these threads where people have gone, I've made this much. I'm like, okay, can you break that down? They're like, oh, well, if you don't like talking about your money, then it's because you've got a crap money mindset. I'm like, nah, it's nothing to do with that, you plonker. So I'm there and with you. But in terms of going from, I'm going to try and find a bit of paper. Give me a sec. So in terms of going from 25k to 100k, I think this will show up better on plain paper. So here we go. 25k, you are going to do some specific things in your business. So to get clients, you will be doing specific money-making activities. And so you might have live interviews, so blabs. You might be generating publicity by getting on things like podcasts or guests blogging. My handwriting is absolute shocker, I've just realised that. Then you might be doing a lot of follow-ups, you might be doing a lot of social media posts, you might be making offerings twice a week, so you've got all this kind of stuff, okay? When you have a 6-figure business, when you want to go from 25k to 100k, you're still going to want to be doing that stuff, right? You're still going to want to do the live interviews. You're still going to want to be podcasting. You're still going to want to be guest blogging. You're still going to want to be posting on social media. You're still going to be following up with people. You're going to want to be, out and about and stuff in the world. However, you do it more, okay? So that's when, and to be honest, and I will be completely honest here, the most difficult part of my business, the biggest transition for me, was going from a 5-figure business to a 6-figure business, because in a 5-figure business, I do everything myself, right? I could set up my website myself, and I could send out my own email autoresponders, and I could sit there on Facebook all day, and I could personally go through and reach out to people, and I could craft posts all day long and all this kind of stuff, and I could do everything all on my own. When I decided that I wanted to go to a 6-figure business, I realised that actually there was some of that stuff I didn't have the time for, because some of it wasn't money-making activities. So things like creating graphics, Not my strong point. I suck. That's why all of my graphics are really basic, because I have the specific border and the text in the same colour, because it's A, easily recognisable, but B, I don't really have much kind of technical skill with graphics, and I don't want to waste my time on them, because ultimately people don't care about the plate that you put it on, they care about the food that's on it and how good that's going to taste, right? So in terms of, you know, what you actually talk about, I delegate things like fillable PDFs to my VA. I will delegate things like my graphics to a VA. I will delegate things that aren't money-making activities to my VA. Anything that builds relationships with clients, anything that is more focused on actually continuing that relationship, building it, starting it, so things like newsletters, things like my email copy, things like creating programs, that kind of stuff, that's all me. You know, that's all on me. Things like doing my own market research and things like that, because I wouldn't want somebody else's voice. You know, I wouldn't want people to kind of, and it's like we were saying earlier, Anishka, where you were like, okay, my authentic voice, you haven't quite found it yet. Yeah, I would find it really difficult if somebody came to me, if my VA came to me and said, hey Jess, I've done some research about your target market and it sort of looks like this. Because I hadn't spoken to those people, because I hadn't, you know, done my normal stalkerish kind of like, oh, I keep a little Excel spreadsheet of the most common words used with regards to sales, or, you know, whatever it is that I'm covering at that time, I wouldn't have the language, you know, so I wouldn't be able to personally link with it. I wouldn't be able to make that relationship or connection with it, you know. And so when we're talking about moving from 5 figures to 6 figures, 25k, 100k, the stuff you do is not that much different. It's the delegation behind it. And so actually, when I went from 5 figures to 6 figures, I was kind of like, oh, well, I'm making a nice steady 5-figure income here. Do I really want to gamble that by paying other people in case I don't get the return? You know, I was quite scared about, okay, well, you know, and I'd seen it in the corporate world. I'd seen people say, you have to spend money to make money, you have to invest in the business, you continually invest in the business. But I was at that stage where I was like, do you know what? I have bills to pay and I have things that I need to do and I don't want to spend too much money on stuff. And I want to keep bootstrapping everything, which is fine. When you're starting out, absolutely fine. There is nothing wrong with bootstrapping your stuff at all. And I firmly believe that you should. If you were in like, I guess, the start-up phase of your business, it should be you doing those things. Because if you can't get a handle on your accounts, if you can't get a handle on how to create stuff in Canva, if you can't get a handle on how to use your landing page software, you're going to find it really difficult to delegate later down the line and explain to your VA or explain to your graphic designer or your accountant how you do things, because you don't know. And it leaves you in very little control of your business, yeah? So, you know, going from 5 figures to 6, it's not about doing different things. It's about maximizing your time with the money-making activities and spending more time on that yourself, and delegating the stuff that isn't, the stuff that makes it look pretty, the stuff that, you know, makes life a bit easier in terms of client onboarding and things like that. That should all be handed over. You know, do you necessarily need to have a VA to get to 6 figures, or do you necessarily need to have a team to get to 6 figures? No, but it's going to make your life a lot easier, because can you imagine, let's put this into kind of perspective here. My highest price program at the moment is $7,500, right? $7,500. To get to 6 figures, I'm going to pull up a calculator so I put all the numbers like right here in front of me. To get to 6 figures, using that calculation, I would have to divide it by 700. Okay, well, 0.01 isn't very helpful. Bear with me, because apparently my calculator is like, no, divided by 7,500. Okay, so I'd have to sell like 14 packages to get to 100. Yeah, 105,000 is the nearest I can sort of get it to. So if I sold 14 packages at $7,500, the rain, I'd have to get 14 clients. Now, I could get 14 clients in a month if I really wanted to, but then what would I do for the rest of the year? What that would be a bit of an issue. And also, where would my funnel process be to actually get that done, to take on those 14 clients? And then what would happen while I was running those 14 clients? How would I promote anything else for the rest of the year so I can make the 6 figures, you know, a bit of time afterwards? That's how you've kind of got to think. And sometimes team members can make that a lot easier, because obviously they can handle things like contracts and onboarding and, you know, making sure that people get the right stuff in their welcome pack, and making sure that people don't have any problems, and they can chase invoices and if you need to, and things like that. It's all about having people to make your life easier. Lorraine, a cleaner and a chauffeur would be better as a single mum. I'll write my own copy and play on Canva myself. I love Canva. Like, I'm Revit, like, I'm useless with it, but I really do like playing around on Canva. And you're right, you know, I have a cleaner, which made me feel really awkward at first, because I used to make my cleaner cups of tea and kind of walk around after her and be like, is there anything I can do to help? And she was like, no, I'm paid to clean, please leave me alone and let me do my job. But having a cleaner makes my life 10 times easier, because it means that there are 2 hours, 3 hours probably in the week that I would have usually been cleaning, where now I'm sat and I'm working, or I'm talking to clients, or I'm, you know, doing things that are helping me move forward in my business, which means that I can keep her employed, like, and keep her coming in and you know, giving her cool tips and, you know, free stuff, because I'm a big fan of giving her presents at, you know, Easter and all that kind of thing. But it's really important to me that I have that time to spend on the business. So, given that I only work 4 days a week, it is kind of important with that, you know. And there are things that you should invest in to make your life easier. For me, it's a cleaner. If I could have a chef for when Sam isn't home, I would. Believe me, I really, really would. But, you know, the things that make my life easier, I take my car to the car wash. Sounds really simple, but when I first started out in my business, I was like, I cannot possibly take my car to the car wash. I must do it myself, because I don't want to spend money on, like, and we're talking like £12, which is about $15, on getting the car washed and cleaned, because that money should be going into my business, or I should be using it to pay bills or whatever. And actually, it made no difference. Like, $15 is $15. By that point, I was just kind of like, well, you know, if it's going to make my life easier, if it's going to save me 3 hours that I could then spend on my business, actually that's $15 pretty well invested, because my time per hour does not cost me $5 anyway. Things like a cleaner, I pay my cleaner, I think it's £18 an hour, like, and I pay her ridiculously well, because she does a really good job, because she's really nice, and she turns up and she does everything, and, you know, she's really helpful. So I pay her really good money, because she deserves it, she earns it, she does a really nice job. But that saves me, again, 2-3 hours a week, you know. And what that means is that I can then spend that time on my business and clients. And when you work out, if I and I was working this out the other day, I was looking at my financial figures and goals for this year. Now, when you compare them to last year, I'm going to see if I can pull this up actually, because this will be really interesting for people who are looking. When we're talking about the 6-figure dream here, and I've realised I've sort of gone into this whole money stuff pretty early on. Okay, but when you look at the 6-figure dream, you look at what your time is actually worth. You have to actually work out that all of your time has a cost, okay? And we talk about this all the time. Everybody says, oh yeah, all your time has to have a cost, and everyone's like, yeah, of course it does, and nobody ever works out what that cost actually is. But I worked it out, because one of my clients said to me, I want to make 6 figures this year, recently. So, here we go. Do you know what an hour of your time is worth? So, if you want to make 100k this year, that divided by 12, you get your monthly income, which is $8,333 or pounds or euros, whatever. Then you divide that by 4 to get your weekly income, which is 2,083. So 2,000. Let's keep this in dollars for the moment. So $2,083 a week, so that you can earn 100k. Okay. Now daily, that means that you have to be earning $416 a day to make 100k a year. And this is without taxes, so we're just talking 100k, like without paying your tax or anything like that. So you would, if you were making 100k in the UK, you'd need to pay, I think it's like 30% tax on that, so you get about 70 gross. So anyway, $416 a day, then you divide that to get your hourly income. which would be $52 an hour. Okay, then divide that by 60 to get what your minute is worth, $8.60. Okay, so when I think, okay, I'm paying my cleaner 18 pounds an hour, but actually my own hourly income is, I mean, obviously it's more now, but if I was just doing 100k, then it would be £52 an hour. Okay, so actually paying the cleaner 18, that's fine, because the rest of that hour, although I've paid an expense for the cleaner, I'm still getting paid like 38 pounds, right? Do you see what I mean? So it's return on investment. Because the cleaner is there, yes, I'm paying her 18 pounds, but the rest of that hour I'm getting 32, because that's my time, and my time costs me £52 an hour if I was doing 100k. Yeah, so when you're thinking about that, when you're thinking about where the kind of money comes from, where that six-figure comes from, where that six-figure jump comes from, think about, okay, what are you doing every hour to earn £52 or €52 or $52? What are you doing every week to earn £2,083 euros a week? What are you doing every month to earn £8,333 or euros, so you can be making that 100k? You know, because that's the breakdown. You know, and that's literally the simplest I can make it in the plainest languages. If you're not doing stuff that is monetized, Lorraine, I'll take £416 a day for cooking for you. That's amazing. Please. Yeah, please do it. You'd have to cope with the crazy chihuahua and the fact that like my fridge just has loads of fruit salad in it at the moment. I'm on the healthy eating kick. But, you know, think about where that money is coming from. Keep a track of it. You know, everybody says, oh, I've got this money tracker. I'm like, yeah, that's great, but what are you doing with it? Like, how is it helping you get to your goals? Are you monitoring that and saying, okay, cool, well, this week I made $6,000, or this week I made $2,000, and so I need to increase my activity by X amount next week so that I can make 8,000 and blah, blah, blah. You know, same thing all the time. Yeah? So that's kind of what I'm going to be going into later. It's all going to be about financial transparency. It's probably going to be about 8 o'clock p.m. GMT, which would be about 3 p.m. EST, because I've got day intensives and stuff going on with clients this afternoon, which is going to be really cool. But that's what I wanted to kind of give to you today, is just make sure that we are transparent in the group, that you are seeing where profit and things are going, where you're seeing the difference between gross and net and taxes and, you know, banked income, contracted income, you know, and all that kind of stuff, because it's really important to me that we're transparent as a group. But if anybody, like I say, if anybody has any person that inspires them, that they kind of read their posts avidly, they read their emails, let me know, because I love checking out new people, and I also want to make sure that I can explain to you guys exactly why their copy is compelling, why they're selling stuff, why they, you know, are doing so well in their business, and I can explain that much easier if I know who you guys are interested in. Oh, throw in the food shopping time too as a bonus. Oh my god, you know, I hate food shopping. That's like the worst bit. And in fact, the worst bit about Sam being away for all of this time recently is the fact that I'm actually having to do my own food shopping, because I hate it. I walk around with my trolley like a little zombie, and I'm just like, oh my goodness. And I look at everything, and by the time I'm done, I just want to, you know, drive over my own foot. You're so welcome. Seriously, I didn't even notice that an hour had passed. So the only reason I noticed was because I was like, oh, I've got a call with Lorraine later. But if anybody has any questions on any of the stuff that I've covered in this stream, please pop a question in the comments, you know, or if you feel like you don't want to share kind of publicly, or, you know, whatever, pop me a message or tag me in a group and be like, Jess, I've messaged you, in case it's gone into my others folder, because it's really, really important that in this group we start being really transparent, or I start being really transparent and kind of leading from the front with you guys and explaining what it takes to make sale, not only sale in your business, but what it takes to make money in your business. Okay, amazing. One word, Ocado. Yes. That's what I've done, except Tesco, because it's closer. Anushka, you are so welcome. Seriously, if you need anything, give me a shout. If you want me to go over those questions again, in terms of writing your sales copy, let me know. And if anybody wants me to cover specific things on these workshops, you know, in terms of writing your own sales copy, or in terms of how to plan out a funnel, launch, whatever, pop me a message, let me know in the group, let me know on these comments, and I can make sure that we start tailoring content in here that's actually really useful for you guys, that you can use, take away, and action immediately, rather than having a bunch of stuff in there that you don't get any value from. Awesome. All right then, my lovely. If there's no more questions, I will pop off. My dog is sleeping, so he's kind of out for the count. I was going to take him for a walk, but it's raining, so I'm probably not going to do that right now. But like I say, any questions, anything you need from me, any person that pops into your head and you go, yes, these persons are so inspirational and you must look at them, please send me, because I love that stuff. And watch out this week, because there's going to be a whole load of Facebook live streams around some really cool stuff, and I don't want people to miss them. So if you aren't following me on Facebook Live yet, hit I think there's a little follow button in the corner, and then even if you can't watch things live, you can catch the replays, because I'm planning some really cool, and even I think it's cool, stuff this week, so make sure you join in. Alright then, my loves, have such wonderful, wonderful days, afternoons, mornings, wherever you are in the world right now, and I will be back later on to talk about finances and financial empowerment. Alright, I'll speak to you soon. Bye for now.